Hi, hello, how are you? Amanda, Seint artist. We're gonna do an inspired look. It's been a while since I did one. The last one I did was my Yellowstone inspired look over a year ago with Beth Dutton. It went well. It went well. I think it's my top video, but today we're gonna be doing Georgia from Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. I'm really basing this off of season 1 because season 1 she had a consistent look all the way through and I did like it, so that's why I'm gonna do it. So here are my Georgia colors. She liked her oranges in season 1. All right, first thing I'm gonna be using my usual suspects, my blush and bronzer and my detail brush because they're my favorite and I want to do a good job. So I'm gonna use the brushes I love. All right, we're gonna go into my main highlight, which is Athens. We're gonna tap in and we are going to even out my skin tone down here, cover up some of my scarring, and we're gonna do a nice medium to full coverage look. I don't know where you would wear this look, but I'm pretty sure you can wear it to probably any kind of barbecue, any kind of summer event, date night, whatever. It's pretty, it's a pretty look. There's just a few things that I noticed with her look that stood out to me. One, she seemed to really like oranges and she had a good neutral look. So it wasn't bold. The only boldness was her eyes. And so we're gonna just pop this on and then I'm using a nice neutral olive contour because it wasn't crazy. I'm skipping bronzer. She isn't bronzy, so I'm skipping bronzer. And then her blushes is gonna be a nice ombre because it's not punchy and bright. It really hangs back and it's nice. So we're gonna do that. All right, I'm gonna switch to my detail brush on the small end and I'm going into white peach and I'm gonna brighten big. I noticed she did a lot more brightening than anything else. So I'm bringing my brightness really high up. Your brightening should be a couple shades lighter than your skin tone. So she really had a nice bright glow. So I'm bringing this pretty high up. I'm gonna do my nose last. I'm gonna hit my Cupid's bow and my chin. And again, I'm gonna make this a bit of a broader brightening because she was bright. And when I say she was bright, maybe I should do my under eyes last. I'm gonna do my under eyes last. I'm gonna switch to the big end. I'm gonna go into my olive contour and I'm gonna stamp into it and I'm just gonna hang this up high. It was really a very subtle contour, just like this, bringing it up, around and down and keeping it nice and subtle, but you see how that brightening is high? I'm not pulling it down towards the brightening. I hung it up and back. I brought it down a little bit just to have some dimension, and then I'm gonna grab with that small end, I'm gonna pull that brightening up and out so that the main focus of my face is bright. That's one of the things I know. She liked to be bright. And I'm going to grab a little more, and I'm grabbing it on the side. Sometimes it's just better on the desk. And I'm gonna hit the sides of my nose, on either side, and then I'm gonna bridge it across. I think the nose, I'm just gonna contour the way I like it contoured because I want this look to be something I'm happy with. And one of the things that I just will not compromise on is the way I contour my nose because I'm not gonna get into like the negativities of things. I just really like my nose to be a certain way. And so I bridge it together because I'm trying to camouflage a bump that I have. It's a bump that just bothers me. It doesn't bother anybody else. I'm gonna go into that small end. I'm going into my brightening and I'm gonna bring it down. And then I'm gonna tap it up and bring it down, go right here and just get the tip. I like to do my nose that way. Whatever's left on my brush, I'm just gonna use to brighten right here and then blend it out because again, I want my bright to be bright. Blend out the edges, there we go. All right, doing my cheeks, I'm gonna hang it pretty far back with my natural. I just know she really didn't have that bold, sharp structure. It was all very light and subtle. So I'm gonna keep that up top above that natural shadow, and I'm really just hanging it with the width of the brush here and pushing onto that cheekbone. And I'm gonna be popping this up top, right here on top of that cheekbone, and again, just really hanging it back. We're also gonna excuse whatever music my kids are playing in the background because it keeps them out of here. Okay, while I do this, I love being with my kids. We're about to go do some stuff. All right, that's it, there we go. I'm gonna do my jawline because it makes me happy. Do my jawline. And because I don't have a bronzer, I'm gonna use my fluffy end. I'm gonna grab my bronzer and I'm gonna use that right up here where my natural shadow is. I mean, you can't miss this dark shadow here. I'm just bringing that that olive contour in there, and then down, it'll help bridge the neck, and that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, let's do the cheeks. This is essentially done on the face. It's very light, very subtle, very natural. I am going to be doing an ombre. I'm using the colors Saint-Tropez and Sandstone. Really pretty together. Again, I have scarring, and so I don't want Sandstone to pull it up and lift anything, so I'm going to use Saint-Tropez to go over the scarring. I'm gonna come a little farther back than my apples. I'm gonna go just over some scarring I have right here, grabbing some more, and I'm gonna hang back, not right on the apples, kind of on the back end of my apples. I'm going to go into Sandstone, and I'm gonna hang that up here. Sandstone is this really pretty color. I think people kind of think of fall when they think of Sandstone. It is such a beautiful summer color, especially if you're not into bronzers. This is a good color. I'm going to take my blush and bronzer on the short end. I'm going to blend Sandstone first. You see that? And then I'm going to pull this forward into Saint-Tropez. So you have that blush color, and I'm going to keep it more towards the bottom. And it's just very subtle. She really didn't have a bold cheek in season 1. She kept it pretty neutral. I can only guess why. I don't care if this is just the look. But I love Sandstone. This is a beautiful summer color. This is a great barbecue color, a vineyard color. This is a wedding guest color. It's very pretty, and it warms your face up without turning you into an Oompa Loompa. And we all know from the early 2000s that Oompa Loompa is no longer in style. All right, I'm gonna use my under eyes now. I'm gonna use the small end of the detail brush. I'm gonna go into my white peach. I'm gonna start this really low, right down here at the tops of the apples. She, again, had a nice and bright look, so I'm gonna hit right here, and then I'm gonna bring this up, and I'm going into that inner corner really good. I want that really bright. And then I'm bringing this down, and I'm just fanning this out. I did prep this with balm. I think it gives a little bit more of a flawless finish without adding texture, and it helps minimize any creasing you might have. Because when you're trying to do a really bright under eye, instead of going too light, sometimes people just think add more. So I am one of those people that sometimes does that. And so I'm just hitting that right there. Look at how nice and bright that is. I'm gonna switch to my blush and bronzer and just I'm gonna add a little more because I am who I am. It's inspired, so I still have to throw a little bit of me in there, which means a little more blush. But keeping that brightening right down here. You see how it's a little bit different? That's the difference. All right, grabbing that white peach again. And I'm not putting a lot on. You don't see, it's not like a main highlight. And I hit that top part of the apple, and then I'm gonna bring this up, and again, really hitting this inner corner. She has a really bright inner corner, but she doesn't do shimmer. There was no shimmer that I noticed on her. So I'm just fanning this out on this inner corner, and then I'm gonna hit right over here, hit that orbital bone. And then I'm just bringing it down to that deep dip of the brightening, and then taking care of that soft tissue area under the eye, like that. Very easy. Boom, 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 boom. All right, popping that in. That's the look. Grab a little more sandstone. I just did one little stamp. I'm just gonna be who I am. I am keeping this deep, right, basically below my temple. Keeping it deep back there. I think it's really pretty so far. Okay, we're gonna move on to the lips. I was gonna do the brows, but I wanna do the lips. I'm taking that small end and I'm going into olive, and I'm gonna go right down here. I like having my lips done before my eyes because my lips are birdy and I want them fuller. Again, this is inspired, so I'm going to be doing what I like on my lips, but I'm gonna go with a color that is nice and light and neutral like hers, but I gotta contour my lips. All right, I'm gonna go to the multitasker brush. I should clean this puppy off a little bit. Let's just wipe it on a microfiber. And I'm gonna line my lips with the big end using my olive contour. I like when one thing does more than one thing, but I'm using that olive contour, and I'm just gonna do a nice lining like that. Line those lips. It's not bold, it's not crazy. Again, this is a neutral lip. You're just gonna line it. I love using contours as a lip liner because it has that density that suede lip liner does, but there's just a bit more color to it. I like suede. I just think it's a little light for what I'm trying to do. All right, the lip color I'm picking is Petal. It is a gloss. We're gonna use our fingers and we're gonna pop it on, and it's gonna mix with this olive contour. It's gonna be pretty. Just blending that in with the contour, letting that contour deepen it a little bit. It's just a nice, pretty color. This might not be the right color, actually, now that I'm looking at it. What do I have in here? We're gonna add a little bit of sandstone to it. That's better. Okay. Keeping with the palette I got. All right. Rather than grabbing more colors like I almost just did. Okay. Petal with a little bit of sandstone lined with olive. Good. All right. Her brows. I want to do her brows first. She was deep into her brows. So I typically use Trust. I'm going to use Kohl. She does a bold brow. And I'm leaving my house like this today, guys. All right. So I have my line brush. I am going to comb out my brows. And then I'm going to use this small end. So this is the color I typically use. And then this is the color I'm going to use. So it's not a huge difference, but it is dark. All right, going to use that line brush. I'm going to tap into it. And we are going to go from that bottom corner. And we're just doing what I usually do. I'm not trying to remake the wheel here. I'm just filling in my brow and I'm going darker. Extending my tail. I want to lift it up higher. So erasing my tail, and then I'm going to pull more straight out. Whatever. It's probably not a big difference, more like a millimeter, but it makes me happy. All right, 1/4 of the way in, and then I'm outlining the top just to have a structure of my brow. All right, then I'm going to grab a little more, and I'm going to flick the front here and blend it into the corner. I like my front of my brow to have just a little bit of structure, but also a bit more fade than the rest of the brow, whereas my back end here has a lot of structure outlined, filling it in. It's got structure. The front, I like it to be more blended. So I'm taking what's left on the brush and I'm filling in that top portion. I'm going to take this spoolie and I'm going to blend this bottom line out, and I'm combing, picking up any excess and blending it all together. This is not nearly as bold as hers, and I'm okay with that because, again, I got to leave the house. But I am just grabbing a little more Kohl, and I'm just flicking in little brush strokes here to maybe deepen it up just a little bit, but in a more natural way. But it is quite a bit bolder. If I did this first, I'd look like Bert from Bert and Ernie, because my husband tells me I do when my brows are done and nothing else is. So again, outlining that bottom part, using the color Kohl. I like using our eyeshadows as a brow fill-in because then it's an eyeshadow too. You can even get this color wet and it makes a really pretty eyeliner. So there we go. So this is Kohl, outlining the top. I like having eyebrows filled in. It's just, I like it. I like it. Mine are so sparse. Okay, so we're just gonna flick that front corner, and now I'm just gonna fill everything in. Filling everything in. Honestly, I thought these would look a lot darker using Kohl, because the next shade up is black, and I'm not doing that. All right, so just filling them in, and then I'm using what's left, fan out, blend it, using my spoolie to pick up excess, blend out that bottom line so it's not such a hard line. And then we'll just see what needs more filling in. All right, there we go. Brows are done. Let's do the eye look. I do need my cleaning tile that I didn't put in there. So I'm gonna grab that, slap it in. There we go. All right, so the colors I'm gonna be using, I'm using Valencia as my base. I'm going to be using Zion, Leo, Bird, and then a touch of Salem. I'm going to prep my lids, and I'm using my brightening highlight, and I'm just going to fill this in from lash to brow. I like using my brightening because I want these colors to have some pop to them and some pigment, and using a neutral tone like my main highlight could make them less, and we want more. All right, we're gonna fill this in. I'm gonna use my setting powder to set this so it doesn't crease, and then it also creates a nice blending surface. The setting powder is just also a nice tone. All right, I am gonna set my face because I can see that my oily skin is doing its thing. So we're gonna take some setting spray. Spraying, I use Urban Decay De-Slick because again, I'm oily. I'm gonna use the fluffy end. I'm going into my setting powder and I'm going on the perimeter here and then I'm bringing it in because man, I'm oily. Especially in the mid of my forehead and on the apples, but I don't want to apply my powder directly to those two places because then it creates texture. It doesn't matter if people call it translucent. They don't, if they say it doesn't add texture, I'm sorry, I don't think that's accurate. It's all about the control and how much you put on. That's just my opinion on powders. Powder changes the consistency of any product that's liquid or thicker like a concealer or cream. Powder's gonna change the consistency. It's science. I don't know what kind of science, but hey, anyway, let's dig in. I am going to use the eyeshadow brush and I'm gonna go into Valencia first and I'm gonna start all over the base of my lid. I could use this as the prep over my brightening highlight. I just wanted a little touch of brightness below that brow bone. But again, this is a matte color. She doesn't use shimmer, so I'm using my setting powder as a highlight because it's matte. I could go get Cupcake eyeshadow or, yeah, Cupcake eyeshadow is good. However, if I've got setting powder, I'm gonna use that. I don't like putting more than you need in a palette. I mean, if you want Cupcake, I'm not gonna tell you not to get it, but I am just setting everything on the lid up into the crease, above, up onto that brow bone, almost to the brow, blending it. Once I hit the crease, I dig in and then I just start thinning it and blending it out up towards the top. And it's not, I mean, you can see it's a very subtle color. It's warm. She did like warm. It's just a little bit lighter than Zion. So again, adding Valencia to the lid all over the lid, grabbing a little more, and then we're gonna dig into that crease and then blend it up onto that brow bone, almost to the brow, just leaving a little peekaboo of lightness. Really simple, okay? Next, I'm gonna go into Zion. And Zion is gonna be my transition color, which is probably the opposite of what I typically do. I usually go lighter with Leo, but that's not this look. We're gonna go into Zion, and I am going to go onto the brow bone and over. She doesn't do peekaboo colors. She smears that stuff all over. I'm in the crease, and then I'm going up, and I am going out, and it's so pretty. I'm going past the outer corner of my eye. So pretty. I'm gonna go in with a small end, and I'm gonna go down here under the lashes, and then meeting that orange. This is my transition color. I'm gonna be adding a skosh of Salem to this, but not yet. All right, if you add black, you want that last. You really gotta be careful with black. So grabbing that Zion color, I'm going into that crease because I want a little bit on the lid, and then I'm going up onto that brow bone and out onto that brow bone up high, just letting a little bit of that Valencia peek out up here. But I mean, are you gonna notice? I don't know, it just makes this pretty ombre. They work together and it's glorious. All right, I'm getting this on the outside here. Just making them even. Grabbing that little end, grabbing into a little bit of that Zion. I did clean this brush before, so it wasn't compromised with other colors. Using my brush cleanser bottle, and then bringing it up to meet, just like that. I'm gonna take this fluffy end, and I'm just gonna clean up anything that might need to get cleaned up. That's it. All right, I'm gonna go in with that fluffy end again. I'm going into Leo. Going into Leo, and I'm tapping this on the lower part of my lid from corner to corner. And it's just creating a lightness. It's gonna give my eyes a little more openness, but it still is staying with that color scheme of monochromatic orange on orange on orange. But using that lighter color will give that illusion of a little bit more open of an eye. And it's pretty, and that's the only place I'm gonna be putting my Leo, is just on the lower lid, corner to corner. That's it. All right, I'm gonna clean this off because we're diving into other colors. And that is gonna be Bird. Bird is this little brown tone. It has a bit of a green undertone, which works really well with oranges. And we're gonna deepen the outer corner So I'm going to press in on the small end, tapping off the excess. I need a mirror to really get all up in my biz. And I am going to pop this on this outer corner, pushing on the brow bone at the bottom, and I'm making a greater than, less than. Building as I need, but I'm just pressing that in, greater than, less than, coming out past that outer corner, pushing this up and over like that. Isn't that pretty? But I do like to bring this up and out a little bit because I like that cat eye look. Again, inspired. I am who I am. Grabbing a little more, and I'm going to go right here on this outer portion of the eye, not all the way across. So it's going to go Zion, a little bit of bird, and then we're going to add a little bit of black. All right, cleaning off the brush so there's not just a bunch of fallout. Grabbing that, and I go on this outer corner, and I pull out when I'm doing this greater than, less than, because I want it to fan out. And then I'm pushing on that brow bone up and over about halfway. And then I'm also going to make that greater than along the lash line right here, like that. Oh, we might be expiring. All right, we're going up and we're going over, and we're going to get this going, and then we're going to add a little bit on this outer part of the eye. I'm going to clean out whatever I have going on here. I'm going to grab my fluffy brush. Charlotte, please. All right. Next, I'm going to take my multitasker brush. I'm going to clean it off on my cleaning tile here, both ends, and I'm going to tap on the big end a little bit of Salem. A little bit is a lot, and I am just going to tap this out. Can I help you out, honey?
Yes.
What do you need? Can I do that? Give me just a couple minutes, okay? Let me finish this. I love you. I love you. I can't. I need scissors, baby. So I'll be right out. Thank you. I love you. Please. Thank you. All right. We're taking that brush with that little bit of black, and I am going to press this up and make a little bit of a smoky wing, no definition, and then I'm going to tap this onto my waterline on the top and on the bottom. You don't need necessarily a whole bristle brush. And then I'm going to grab it. When I'm tapping into my black here, it is that much. And I really like to tap it out because it can really take over. And I'm just hitting the lash line with it, just for the little bit of smokiness, grabbing that waterline with it. And then up top, getting that waterline up here, you just got to press it in and pulling that little skosh of a wing from that lower lash line. I'm going to tap a little more on, tappy, tappy, tap, and we're going to hit this inner corner here. Inner corner here, not the waterline. We're hanging out on the edge. Do I have mascara? I do. Okay, I'm going to grab, I have fake lashes on, and so I'm just going to hit this bottom lash line with my mascara. This is Lashtopia by Bare Minerals. I've had this puppy for a long time, but because I use fake lashes, it doesn't seem to go bad. It doesn't seem to go bad. All right, I'm going to clean the fluffy end of this brush off, and I'm just going to give everything a pull in just to have that blend out. Pull it in, pull it out. And we're going to take a look, and we're going to say, what else do we need? What do we need? I want a little more color in my lips, because again, I am who I am. So I am going to grab some of my cheek color Sandstone. I'm going to put some on this brush. I cleaned off the black, and I'm just going to add a little extra structure using that orange color Sandstone. So I'm just grabbing it, and I'm just really defining my Cupid's bow with it, and then right down in the middle here, and blending it into the lip. There we go. That's my Ginny and Georgia inspired look. I will list all the colors in the comments. This is a really simple look. It is a lot of colors on the eyes, but they're worth it. I mean, this is such a very pretty color. This is super summery. I mean, if you're gonna go, I don't know, blueberry picking, barbecuing, wining, grape picking, this is a really pretty look. This is something you could wear to a bridal shower, it's a good option. I'm showing a lot of bright colors. This is a nice, beautiful orange tone, and it's subtle, but also, I don't know, I love it. So it's my Ginny in Georgia. This is my Georgia look. Check the comments, check the description for the colors I used, and have a great day.